What's going on, guys? Unknown Player here, and today we've got an absolute ton of Destiny 2 stuff to go over, mainly exotics. I've dug through dozens of hours of gameplay from all the journalists who uploaded Destiny 2 gameplay, and I've picked out some info on, I believe, nearly 10 exotics we didn't know about before. I've got the names and perks of most of them, and also some info on the returning exotics too, so we've got a lot to go over. So firstly, we have the Dubious Volley, which is of course a fan favorite. We've seen this weapon so much. They confirmed on an interview with IGN this isn't actually its name, it's not called Dubious Volley. They didn't talk much about it, but you can see some gameplay of it in action, aiming down sights, which is pretty weird. It's a very weird looking gun. We've seen this weapon being fired like once, so now we can see it properly being used inside PvE. Now, of course, we've known this thing's perks for literally years now. I doubt they've changed all that much because it is such a unique weapon. The perks kind of make it what it is. But the perks so far let it fire these clusters of mini rockets that track targets, and sometimes getting kills adds more ammo back to you. So good bit of gameplay of this thing in action. So next up, we have these exotic Titan gauntlets. We've seen these in the very first premiere of Destiny 2. We still don't know their name, but you can just call them the Void Shoulder Horns, basically. Now, these things are pretty interesting. In your super, when you bash enemies with your shield, it's going to recharge your shield at throw, and then out of your super normally, your melee is going to recharge your super energy. So the perks kind of feed into each other, which is pretty cool. So this is one set of exotics for the Titan. Now, also there you can see the Tex Mechanica grenade launcher being held. We don't know what this thing's perks are or what it's called, but this is an exotic you've seen in a trailer before, and it's made by the Tex Mechanica Foundry, the same guys that make Last Word and Chaperone weapons like that. But this is yet another exotic. So we also got to see the gold Warlock wings. You can see these on a Warlock next to the player. They're actually quite big. They've got a really big profile, so it kind of makes you easy to spot with these huge wings strapped to your back. But we know this is something you get early on in the game before at level 10, and its perk is basically Angel of Light from Destiny 1. So when you aim down sight in the air, it holds you in place in the air, which I talked about. You can combine it with other perks to apparently be quite good. So next up, we have the exotic Warlock helmet, which looks very similar to the Astrocyte verse. At first I thought it was it returning, but this is actually a new separate exotic. Now, this one is called Eye of Another World. This speeds up the recharge rate of all three of your abilities, so Grenade, Melee, and the Rift, and also makes your priority targets glow with a red outline. Not exactly sure what a priority target is. I'd assume like major enemies or enemies that do the most damage, but those are going to glow and they're going to be outlined slightly in red for you. Now, this footage is from PC Gamer, and they said the amount to increase your abilities wasn't dramatic, but enough to be detectable. So it sounds okay, I guess, a little on the underwhelming side, if I'm honest. I mean, I want to see exotics with like crazy perks that blow you away with things that you've never heard of, but this is definitely on the tame side. I think it will be helpful as an exotic because the recharge rate of abilities in Destiny 2 is of course quite slow, even after them being sped up since the beta. So maybe this helmet will make things a little bit faster and more Destiny 1-like with the abilities, but as I said, it wasn't a dramatic amount. So the next exotic is a weapon, and this is called the Graviton Lance. This is that exotic I pointed out in a previous video from the launch trailer. It was really hard to tell what type of weapon this would be, but it turns out it's a pulse rifle, a void one of course. So the perks on this one are actually really impressive. The first one is that it fires bursts of 3 bullets, so the third bullet in every single burst has much more recoil and also has much more damage too, and they aren't lying about the extra damage part. So this weapon normally getting headshots against this Vandal, it does 67 to the head. The third shot with bonus damage does 452 damage, which is pretty ridiculous. That's like 7 times damage on that last bullet. But not only that, every single enemy you take out also produces almost like a black hole grenade that basically pops out and explodes again for more damage to enemies around. So this is a really powerful exotic, definitely one I'm excited for. It seems quite powerful, and this is the exact type of thing I want to see from Destiny 2. I'm so glad I'm seeing something like this because this has got explosions, it's got crazy high damage, it's unique, it looks good, sounds good. So this is a really good weapon I'm definitely excited for. And especially that it causes explosions like every time. It's not just like a chance to do so. Every single kill, even body shots, is going to make a Firefly type explosion, but with void black holes instead. So this can be pretty good for crowds of enemies. It is pretty slow firing and does have a good bit of recoil because that last shot, but you'll probably be able to throw in some mods or perks to help with the recoil, but it's definitely going to be a very decent weapon. There's also this Hunter chest piece, which you can spot glowing in this gameplay. I did say in a recent video how I thought this would be exotic because the way Bungie featured it, but seeing it here, there's no doubt this would be exotic because the way it glows, it sticks out like a sore thumb. There is no way this is legendary or some kind of shader. This is one of those few that we don't have any idea about what their perks are, what its name is, so we don't know what this thing does. For some reason, all the Hunter exotics seem to be the most mysterious, like we don't know any of their perks yet, so I guess we'll find out at the launch. So next up, we got some returning exotics from Destiny 1. Firstly, the ACD/0 feedback fence. So this is from PlayStation Access, and they described the perks and even called it the feedback fence, so it's still got the same name. And also the perk was more or less the same. They said when enemies melee you, they get electrocuted with arc energy, so pretty much the same thing it was in Destiny 1. We still don't know if they've added more perks to this one on top of that, or improved this one slightly to make it even more lethal. I really hope they do, because this exotic wasn't very popular in Destiny 1. It was very underused for Titans. So this time around in Destiny 2, they really need to give people a reason to use it. So next up, we have the Hard Light Exotic Auto Rifle. You probably remember this from Destiny 1, but this is now in the energy slot as a secondary and also does void damage now. It always felt like it should have done arc damage because the shots it fired were blue and did look exactly like arc. But you can see it's still got the ricochet rounds perk, so it's probably going to be a main theme of what this weapon does. Now, same thing I said about the other exotics, but Bungie seems to be picking the least used and least popular exotics in Destiny 1 to bring them back, which doesn't really make too much sense to me. Once again, I really hope they have much improved perks and are a lot better, because otherwise they're kind of going to be irrelevant in this game as well. So I'm interested to see what or if the changes are actually significant to this, but we can't exactly inspect the perks to see what exactly they're about. So it's still a little bit too early to judge them as bad exotics for now and rule them out completely, but we're going to have to wait and see what they're like. So another one you can of course add to the list is the Starfire Protocol, which of course was shown off in a recent trailer. You can add that to the list of returning exotics. The chest piece for the Warlock that gives you 2 fusion nades. Again, this was really useless for 90% of Destiny 1 until sticky nades took over, but in Destiny 2, sticky nades are even worse, so I'm not sure how this is going to play out. But that is of course another returning exotic from Destiny 1. Now, out of the ones I showed off, we didn't see many for the Hunter. We just saw that one chest piece, but we've still yet to see many of them, and especially returning exotics. We haven't seen any returning exotics for the Hunter just yet. So I'm really curious to see which ones they pick, but it's probably not going to be that great, to be honest. I mean, following the trend of what they've brought back so far, it's probably going to be quite a useless one, like the Skyburner's Annex or the Arachnid Helmet, but we'll have to wait and see, of course. But that has been a roundup of basically all the exotics I found so far in this footage. There may even be some more in there that I haven't seen, but like I said, there's tons of footage, so a lot to go through. It takes a lot of time, but hopefully you enjoyed the video anyway. If you did, a like rating would be much appreciated. Of course, I'll have a bunch more Destiny 2 videos right here on this channel, so make sure you are subscribed with notifications turned on so you never miss an upload, and I'll see you guys next one.